listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. Now, the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Helix After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Helix After Show.
No way to San Jose. I never wait too long. Blah 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 blah.
If you're not completely confused, you probably know where you are. It's AFTERBUZZ TV. We're talking about Helix, Season 1, Episode 12.
What?
The Reaping. Can I say the Reaping in the most casual way
Oh
possible?
my God.
The Reaping.
The Reaping.
Yeah. Okay.
That was the most casual. That was Billy's casual way of saying,
guys, it's the Reaping.
What are you, the Cave of Wonders? What is that?
I don't know what you're talking about, Matt.
All right. I'm Matt Lieberman. Join me on the panel, of course, all season long. Fantastic and talented Mr. Stephen Lemieux.
Hey, guys, I'm Stephen Lemieux.
Yes. Liz Rishmawy.
I really wanted you to call him beautiful and talented, like you.
It goes without saying, Liz.
Yeah.
Hey,
and
guys.
Zach Wilson.
Flattery will get you nowhere.
And everywhere.
Whatever. Well, that's why I didn't try to flatter you. First things first, before we get started, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see we're wearing these very lovely, like kind of J'adore Helix Montreal t-shirts that were made and sent to us by the lovely and fabulous Catherine Lemieux, who played Doreen on the show.
You have to say it like Mark said it, though. Catherine Lemieux.
Catherine.
No, you guys did not.
You say it then.
I can't do French.
Hold on.
Catherine Lemieux.
Catherine Lemieux. Yes.
We're butchering
Sorry, guys,
this.
And all the French
terribly.
people are face-palming.
We are not handsome enough to say it the way Mark says
It's true. He's so handsome that actually everything he says just sounds French.
Even German would sound French.
Yeah, he's just that handsome. But what an episode this week. You know, we really got an incredible performance out of Hiroyuki Sanada.
Oh my God.
Just great work all around, and a shocking death, R.I.P. Mixa. I know. Miguen's still alive. He still has a character on the show.
He's still gonna get his IMDb credits.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get him to call in, but I don't know if he will or not. But
we'll see.
We're still gonna try to talk to him about this episode because that is crazy.
I'm so sad.
I also want to plug real quick.
Yes.
So guys, the finale of Helix is this Friday.
Yes.
Woo! And we have an exclusive interview with Helix showrunner Steve Maeda.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Mind blown.
We will be posting on YouTube and iTunes Friday night directly after Helix airs. So as soon as the show ends, you can go ahead and knock out an interview with the showrunner himself on what his thoughts were, what we thought of the series, because we're going to be doing the interview literally right after having seen the finale episode. We will still be doing a finale recap Monday, though.
Yeah, so Friday night after Helix, tune into AFTERBUZZ TV for an immediate post-mortem with the showrunner Steve Maeda, followed by our official recap show the following Monday.
At regular time.
At regular time.
I am so excited.
I know. I'm beyond stoked.
We so excited. We're going to have a ball today.
Okay, well, let's jump into this episode before we just run away with the silliness. Okay, stop it. So, at the end of last episode, we received a visitor in the form of Spencer Chiswick, the Scythe, and his two lady pals.
Adolescent Daft Punk murderer guy.
Even describing it sounds British.
Yeah, just a little
bit. We received a guest of Spencer Chiswick and his two lady pals.
Yes, his two lady pals who got into many shenanigans over the course of a romping hour.
And he's like straight up really creepy, and one of them really loves him or something.
Yeah, Blake.
That was so creepy.
Yeah, when he kisses her, because she's like, what, like 23 and he's like 15?
Yeah. Oh, I'm just picturing the actors like reading that scene, and he's all like, yeah, and then she's like, I feel weird.
Yeah.
Well, did you notice they did not not linger on that kiss for very long.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But
Steve
also,
made retweeted our reaction video.
oh great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
While on air.
wonderful.
Love
Yeah.
it.
I'm just permanent sad upside down C face.
We'll show the reaction video later in the show. It's me and Liz when we see our horrifying death at the hands of Spencer. But
And my reaction to Alan's one-liner.
yeah. So the big news with Scythe the Scythe is that he is Sutton's daughter. Or Sutton's. He is Sutton's son. Sutton is his mom. Nope. We're
Helix twist.
rolling right over that. Hey man, he's been alive for 500 years, maybe. Not. Oh, he's probably not as old as Hatake, but you know, like he could have had a sex change at some point in those.
Just stop.
300 years.
Continue.
Fine. So he's obviously really upset over the loss of his
And I
mother.
totally called it just before he's like, mother. Like, I totally called it. It was like, it's too coincidental that there's two crazy blonde people running around.
Right. He's like so petulant. It's the worst because he's deadly and he's perfected the art of human suffering.
Here's my question about
Joffrey.
as I was watching
thinking the same thing.
As I was watching this like adolescent kid like who's hundreds of years old. So they get frozen in that time that they are. Like Julius says, Sarah, you're going to be 26 forever now.
Yeah.
Does he get frozen with that adolescent set of hormones?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
gotta
did you see the
suck.
way he aggressively kissed Blake?
Well,
He's-
he doesn't know how to kiss, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He's never allowed to evolve his
hundreds of
skills
years.
of kissing.
He's just gonna
never
be an
gonna learn
awkward
how.
teenager forever.
Exactly. I'd be pissed off.
I just think it's so funny because I just imagine if he were to get stuck in like just as like your voice is changing.
Oh, and it's just crap.
Hey guys, I'm gonna kill you.
Forever. Hey, you have a choice. Your son or your daughter. But you better make it quick because there's a clog and stinging now. Mom, do we have any more pizza rolls?
Your mom's dead. No.
Yeah.
Blake, did you get my acne medication?
But hey, all I'm gonna say is this:
Creepy.
even though he's not a great kisser, he still didn't gooseneck her.
That's a you, Mark Ganime.
If
love
you didn't
you,
see
Mark.
this week, we have to tweet it out again. Stephen made an amazing piece of fan art after Mark went back in our old podcast and heard us mentioning that he kind of does like a little gooseneck move when he goes to kiss Anana for the first time. So there's this amazing picture Stephen made of a goose with Mark's head. And what did we say? We were like, we should just do like some goosenecking.
Yeah, and then I
like
said
a goose-
gooses because I was drinking instead of geese, and he called me out on that.
Yeah, but
There's a whole Twitter conversation
Yeah,
that you need to just look at. I want to go back to like the last podcast we did really quick because what they said was take a very good look at Havit's head. So I went back, I looked at it. I couldn't really see much, but it seemed like he was a vector.
what?
Ooh.
So like just from like veins and things like that, that's what it looked like to me. I might be wrong. I might be picking up the wrong clues, but perhaps from that it means that Narvik A and Narvik B, or the vector disease, can actually in fact infect the silver eyes. They just don't actively attack the silver eyes.
That's so
Or
strange.
I'm gonna jump off of that and make another prediction. Since the cure comes from the cerebral spinal fluid of Julia, what if the root of Narvik comes from Dr. Havit's DNA?
Oh,
I
And
mean,
that's
we don't
why-
know.
so Havit's patient zero.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Is like
Possible.
even if they couldn't get the virus or the cure off the base, like Sergio's original mission was to just disrupt the base and take Havit's head. So what if Havit's head is the root of Narvik? That was them basically saying like we can throw all this away if we have to, as long as we have the
Havit's
root.
head.
Yeah, there's something in his head that is so crucial to this master plan
Yeah.
we think wipe out humanity.
This show deals with heads a lot.
Yeah.
And we actually had a line from Spencer who was like, well, since he seems to like removing heads,
Yeah,
Right. He
so
has a
much.
thing for it, you know. He's removed a lot of heads.
Can I please point out, like, yay Neil, like, yay Peter,
Yeah,
like, I just...
Let's talk about it. Because, like,
Brotherly love.
I love having him as part of the gang, but it's a huge
It's so
adjustment.
weird. It's so
It's
weird.
super weird.
It's super weird for him to have no makeup and have lots of dialogue and be genuinely nice, and we love that because we love Neil. We met Neil, but it's very strange to suddenly have just a new member of the gang running around.
I know. I love
And
It also, but it's not just a disruption to us as viewers. It's clearly a disruption to how the whole team is flowing.
right, because we have this dynamic between Peter and Alan, where Alan always is telling everyone what to do, and people generally follow it. But Peter doesn't want to do that because that's how Alan's treated him his whole life. And we get major evidence of that in their sequence in the ducts, which I just had a lot of fun with. Because Alan is still trying to be in charge, even though, yeah, Peter spent way more time up in those ducts.
It's a dead end, bro. No, it's not. Damn it.
Damn it.
But that was an interesting point when he finds the pictures. Like, Alan's a little bit, like, perturbed by it. He's
Oh,
like, this is
definitely.
weird. But Peter is perturbed by it for a different reason because he can't remember. He clearly remembers being in the ducts. He's like, I know my way around up there. But some of his memories are wiped out.
Either that or he was lying. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
possibility he could have been. I don't know what that.
It's like,
I remember all of these
awkward.
ducks like the back of my hand, but what are these pictures doing? I don't remember that.
Well,
you know?
I mean, he was sick for several days, and he spent a lot of time hiding up there. But the pictures were towards the tail end of the sickness.
yeah, and that's when he got like super zizzed.
Exactly.
Just
which is
avoid
like-
the zizz in the duct.
Right.
Yeah.
He may have blacked out, or he may just have been kind of delirious enough that he thought he was dreaming that part.
Oh, that's
Possibly.
true.
You know, sickness does a lot of
Also,
crazy
notice
things.
how when he was talking with Dr. Jordan, how he's like, well, I loved her when she was like, oh, when you slept with Julia and you ran away, and then he was like, well, I loved her, and he used the past tense, but I don't think it's so past tense. I still think he has.
I think it was
Yeah.
more of a dig at
Yeah.
Dr. Jordan. Is like, well, I slept with her because I loved her.
Yeah.
You sleep with her because he's your mentor.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I'm okay. He doesn't know that she slept with him, but
Oh, he
maybe he
knows.
is
He
inferring.
kind of. I mean,
Peter knows.
Yeah.
I mean, she's very pretty, and she's in the vicinity.
And,
Julia
and
wasn't
Peter,
gonna
Peter
sleep
took
with him.
one look. He's like,
I mean,
know what
dude,
you
he
did.
could have probably seen it from awkward vent.
Yeah.
Oh, awkward.
Awkward window made a huge return this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hashtag awkward window.
In a very sad way.
The
In a
awkward
very
window
sad
is
way.
dirty.
Now it's the sad window.
Now it's the needs a scrubbing
Yeah.
window.
All right, we're gonna get into all that, but first we got to talk about iTunes. Don't skip ahead because you know I'm gonna beat you for it. I would
And there
never
might be
beat
funny
you. Don't ever
things.
think that that's what would happen, and you'll miss funny things and good things. But here's the thing, folks. Say it every week. We need your support to help keep this this podcast growing, keep the network growing. It is the only surefire way to make sure. He's like being my silent hype man right now. It's the only surefire way to make sure that our wonderful network continues to grow and prosper the way that it should. We put out over 70 hours of quality free content a week.
Yeah.
It's a huge undertaking, and it only takes a second to really, really legitimately help us out. Go to iTunes, rate, review the podcast. It only takes a second, doesn't cost a dime, makes us feel great, and also helps attract sponsors and guests. So I'm going to read out a few shout outs. That's another great thing about doing a review. You get a shout out.
Take a breath, Matt. Take a breath. All right, cool.
All right, Ted RX. I love this review. It's wonderful. The rare fan podcast that makes the TV show better. Most fan podcasts are supplementary to the source show, but this is the rare case where it is complementary to the show and actually makes the TV show better. Do not miss the interview episodes. If you already like Helix, then this will make you love it even more. Sure, sometimes the comments and theories are a bit shot out, but that's just part of the
Stephen.
fun.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, my favorite theory is that they are Greek gods.
Which is also my favorite theory.
Suck it.
They probably aren't.
No,
Zach.
I like that theory.
My favorite theory is that they are Greek gods. They probably aren't, but who cares? That was a super fun fan-created conspiracy theory, which I love this term, and I think we should adopt it. A fan-spiracy.
It also sounds like fan piracy.
Except we don't encourage fan piracy.
Yeah. Watch the show.
Yeah.
the night it airs.
Exactly. That's best for the ratings. More reviews. I think there are a few more. Yeah, great podcast from Lady Bears fan. Interesting to listen to. Fun discussions, recaps, and theories, and interesting guests on the show. Monkey Ziz from Brock Rippion. Discovered this after listening to AfterBuzz Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. 2 weeks ago. Went back and listened to every episode and loved it even more. Keep up the incredible work. # renew Helix. I agree.
I agree, too.
Is that enough patting ourselves on the back?
I think so.
Stroking the Ziz?
Yeah,
Oh, come on.
I didn't mean it that. Shut up.
All right.
I do have an interesting thought on the Greek god theory now that we have Hatake's date of birth.
1501.
1501, so
Yeah.
we know he's about 500 years old.
513 years old.
I said about.
513 years old.
He's 513
take.
years old.
513 years old, give or take.
I still think
Give
the
or
Greek
take
gods
513.
theory.
Shut up, Matt.
I still think that the Greek gods theory stands because one of the things that's built into Greek mythology is that gods can die and then somebody else takes their place in that role. So, like, if Apollo the sun god was to die for whatever reason, somebody else could then take his place as the sun god. That would make the reasons for that there are 500. That there are 500 gods, if you will, that oversee
And then
different
there's
aspects
the
of the
board.
planet.
The board's going to hear about this.
And the board is the gods of Olympus. The primary
Okay.
hierarchy of gods.
Here's what I will say.
It's all a metaphor. It's not that
I
this
know.
is Zeus, this is Hera.
That's what I'm saying.
But I think that they could have filled those roles at one time, been known by those names, and now
but
these
have just
500
been guardians of
Yeah.
the planet for centuries.
Off topic, I have the entire soundtrack of Disney's Hercules in my head right now. Thank
At once? All of it at once?
Yeah, it's
That's gotta be
ridiculous.
cacophonous.
Probably sounds awful.
Okay.
Marissa's singing in the engineer booth right now. I'm playing on that, though, real quick.
right.
Just the 1501. Let's talk about that for a while. The 1501, like, that's such a... We think of that as like, oh, only 500 years ago, but if you think about the technological revolutions we've had in just the past 200 years and how far back that really is and what technology was like in those times, you have to realize that the key to our immortality is not something through science. Like, it has to be either
Yeah.
something through
Or
an
the-
advanced history of science before the human race, or it has to be
From
something
nature.
nature.
What about something like, I mean, and this is just a theory, and it probably won't even come in, but like, I mean, what if it like does something fun, like they talk about like, you know, Atlantis or something, and then Atlantis is supposed to be this place from thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, could have existed, it's never been disproven, but it's supposed to be with all philosophers and scientists and yada yada and advanced technology, like. Again, this is just a crazy theory. It probably won't hold up, but that would be so cool.
Hey,
Would you
man.
say your Atlantis theory didn't hold water?
But I just think that could be a cool thing. And then the other thing is now we know that what's his name who died in the
Gunner.
Gunner, that he really was a Viking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I don't want to go deep into the Atlantis idea, but in the Disney movie Atlantis: The Lost Empire, they were immortal because of the secret crystal
Just
underneath.
saying.
But
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be. I don't know about Atlantis, but the Fountain of Youth myth
Yes.
could be something that holds the water here
Stupid.
of the theory. It doesn't have to be science the way we know it today.
Right.
It could be something completely different. It could be as simple as like
A juice
penicillin
cleanse.
was a juice cleanse.
No,
Your
it's
immortal
not a
juice
juice
cleanse.
But
cleanse.
penicillin is just a bacteria. It's a growth.
Right.
That sort of simple discovery, who knows where that leads down? If you had discovered penicillin and give it to people in the 1500s, they would consider that magic.
Right.
So
there-
who knows what they discovered that they didn't share with the
Okay.
world?
There's also the fact that Spencer is Constance Sutton's son.
Yeah.
Not
So-
daughter, as might have been
Matt
believed.
said, yes.
Guys.
We were going to roll over that, but we brought it back. Which means that Silvers can have children.
Yes. Well, as we know from Hero.
But my question is,
Well,
how is
we
he...
hadn't seen any with each other.
Okay, why is he stuck as a 15-year-old forever when she had him? Maybe she was his son when she changed, and then he
She
changed
was his
her.
mother.
Yes, and she changed him into an immortal after she was changed into an immortal.
It's either that or if you're turned into a Silver Eyes after you're an adult, you're frozen where you are. But if you are born a Silver Eyes, you reach the end of your
the end of puberty.
the end of puberty.
Or maybe it just has to be awakened. Like, what if Julia Like, you know, if she was born from, like, now we'll get to it later about her mother and everything, but as far as we know, so this far, she could have been a regular human, and Hatake is a Silver Eyes.
No, she is a regular human. We saw that she had aged in the machine at the
Okay,
end.
so, like, you know, so that being said, you know, she's obviously in, like, what, her 30s, the character, Julia? And so, you know, maybe she's had it in her this entire time, and it had to be reawakened by Hatake. So maybe, you know, again, it's not like they're born with it, but, like, for some certain reason, it was awakened within Spencer when he was around
rebirth.
15. Maybe something was going to happen to him. Maybe he was dying from something, and there was no choice but to, you know, there's so many things we could go on. We don't know.
Or a Constance and Spencer were they silvered at the exact same time.
Right. Okay.
Also, Matt, I know you're putting your hand like this, and it means you want to move on.
Yeah.
I really want a spin-off series with just Hatake in the 1500s being immortal.
So cool.
Oh yeah, that would be really, really cool.
They did that movie already. That was with Tom Cruise.
How many times has he committed seppuku?
Release it as a comic book. Release it as a comic book in
I would love
in
that.
the off season. That
So
would be
cool.
great.
Talking to you, Cameron.
We have to move on. We have to go back into plot. I love theorizing much as anyone, but we got to go into it. So, Alan devises a plan to draw the Scythe out into the open, which is that, you know, they're obviously going to underestimate the puny humans and Hatake. So they talk about this plan out in the open where Daniel and Julia are going to create a base-wide diversion while Hatake and Alan go and find the virus. So they draw them out into the snow. Daniel uses the snowcat to thin out a patch of the ice so that when Tia, I can't remember how to pronounce it, jumps on the fake virus canister, she falls deep into the ice and never to be seen again.
As far as we know.
As far as we know. I mean,
She isn't immortal.
she isn't immortal, but if she falls like 40 feet,
They can
on
still
her
die.
head-
They can still die from physical damage.
Right.
It reminded me of the squirrel from Ice Age who's going after the acorn.
Oh yeah, Scrat. Yeah, she was very Scrat-esque in her pursuit of the fake virus canister.
They should have had like that moment where she's like stuck in the air.
I actually would have loved that. That would have been really funny. But this was not the time for it because this is a sad episode.
Intense and sad.
Yeah, we have this ongoing thing since ever since Mixa learned of his real heritage, of him, you know, basically inferring that Hatake isn't a good father, that he never cared about him, that he never loved him. Last episode, Hatake jumps in front of a bomb for him to protect him, and Mixa is still wrestling with his identity. He still, you know, he has this great scene with Julia where she's like, you know, when this is all over, you can consider me a sister. Like, we are technically brother and sister. And he's not interested.
Well, you can tell that he's kind of touched by it,
Yeah,
like by
of
her
course.
reaching out. Like, it means something to him, but at the same time, he's still confused about the sister that he just discovered he did have.
Right.
He's like, I already got one.
And also, there's a level of resentment there, because at this point, you know, he's thinking that Hatake has done everything over these past several years.
For him.
For her. He's done everything.
No, I know, but up till this point,
Right.
you know, he's like, oh, it's my dad, and I believe in him, and then for all this time, it was for the affection of another sibling.
Right. That, you know, Hatake was putting him to work, doing all these things for this other child, not for him. So he doesn't really want her love. He kind of rebuffs it, but ultimately he gets captured by the Scythe, just as Julia does in that elevator.
Which I'm so mad about. Like, didn't he? So now that means he gave Narvik and the cure to them in order to try to stop Hatake from sacrificing himself. And it just makes me so mad because I just wonder how the hell it would have panned out had he had not done that. Because now it's like, well, like, I feel like maybe with the whole gas thing, like, what would have happened if they went with that plan, with the gas and the vents and stuff?
Right, we have this halothene gas all ready to go, and Hiroshi doesn't even release it. You know, Alan and Peter finally get this nice moment where Peter's right, and that if you go from above with the crowbar, it's far more effective than going from below. Alan, you big dummy.
He knows how to use that crowbar.
Yeah, man.
As we find out sadly later.
Oh, well, Well, Alan learns how to use a crowbar.
Funny later.
Yeah.
Well, he has to go from the top.
He has to go from the top to really bash him in the face.
Though I really would have liked him to go from the bottom and just hit him in the nuts with that crowbar.
From the bottom to the top, to the bottom of the top, I stop. What is that? What is that song? From the
It's
top.
the song
to the
that you don't sing on a Helix podcast.
Okay, great. So Hiroshi is faced with this choice. There are bombs attached to the necks of Julia and of Daniel, and he has to choose. And this heartbreaking.
Well, first, we didn't really. I want to build up to this moment because we have another 30 minutes.
Okay.
So
the clock's not on. I can't tell.
So the whole plan, they talk about their plan in front of the video camera in Hitaki's office. So they're watching and they're like, okay.
And they know they're being watched.
They know they're being watched. We don't know that at the moment, but like we're thinking like, you know that they wouldn't be that stupid because he's talking about how Taki's so smart. This is right before they end up throwing her down the chasm, all squirrel-like. And then they're on that elevator. It goes black. There's random cowboy music.
Yeah, why
this
is there
I love
like
that.
cowboy surf rock music?
It was so funny though. Like it was just one of those moments. Like the writers, when the writers came on the show last week, that we were just saying, we were complimenting how it's not really a show where you can't forcefully put comedy in, but when you have those small moments, it's funny, and it was just so great because they're all in such serious mode, and it's like,
I do not really like this cowboy music. No, but like this,
your Japanese
I loved
impression.
it. No, it's terrible. I love it. It reminded me of Mass Effect, like the first Mass Effect game.
where you're stuck in those elevators.
The elevators that just go forever, and you're just
Yeah.
listening to the music, and you're like, this is so boring.
Because they're all loading screens.
But I really want the writers to know that if that was an intentional Easter egg reference, I love you so much.
we still love you even if it wasn't.
I just picture, because I know he's just a giant dork, I just picture Javi right now listening going, good. Good.
And
no, you'd be telling me I'm wrong.
Yeah, I know. Oh man, your batting average was not great.
One for
One out of
10.
8.
One
Yeah.
for 10 now.
But she just gets snatched right out of this elevator in a blackout. And
I'm glad they
nobody
did that.
notices.
I'm glad they did that though, because they spend the whole episode talking about how amazing the Scythe is,
Yeah.
and like how good he is at combat and things like that. But he doesn't really show it very much because he just gets crowbarred in the face. And I mean, there's no real way to defend against that. I don't think Taekwondo teaches you.
Even in his skills and like killing everybody, it's like, okay, whoop-de-doo, you're a 15-year-old with 2 deadly weapons in a whole bunch of, you know, unarmed people in an elevator. Like, I could probably do that if I was a sociopath. But like, for no, if I was a
Matt's
sociopath,
backing away.
but I am not a sociopath.
Uh-huh.
You're sitting closest to me, so I would be careful if I were you. But anyway, I just think like that
Well
it's like it's
plaid.
not showing any skills. And then now it's like, in order to show skills, we're within like, what, a 10-second dark blackout frame. What are you doing next to me?
Steven made a terrible
Come
pun.
on, settle. But yeah, I see your point. You know, he only has a brief moment to snatch her silently.
And for her not to make any noise or to even hear the whoosh of her body being lifted up out of the elevator.
And then he says he's going to cut off a finger for every, not for like any particular amount of time. He throws down one of these virus canisters into the cabin, and it's a parchment letter. It's like a letter written on parchment.
Which is great.
That's what he grew up writing on.
Written in what appears to be the blood of Julia's finger stump.
No, it's because the finger stump was just thrown in there. It was regular ink, and the stump's rolling around the
It was
thing.
just, it was just a little bit of finger paint.
Splatter.
So now, oh god.
But no, they read it, and they don't even say like they say she has 9 more
viewers all the money.
Yeah, she says there's it says 9 more fingers to go, but they don't even phrase it that way. They don't say another finger will be lost. It says we start cutting more pieces of your daughter off.
Yeah.
Oh.
Next canister has like
Gross,
a boob in it.
direct. I love it.
I mean, now we get to find out if the Silvers have starfish powers.
Yeah, exactly. Is she going to grow it back? Because, I mean, you look at Hatake at the top of the episode, he's got, like, blood coming out of his wounds on his shoulder, cut away, come back less than a minute later, and then the shoulder is no blood, nothing.
And I mean, that's just healing in a sped up process. It's not like
Yeah.
the starfish growing back.
Just like they said last week, they can't regenerate lost limbs and everything like that.
But they did say that they did show that it had like still scarring left, as opposed to just being completely perfect.
I just thought it was mean because like, what if Julia gets married to Peter and she can't put a ring on now?
She can put it on the other hand.
It's not the same.
Oh, brother.
Well, they could reattach it, right? Unless she's healed so fast that they can't reattach
It's
it.
entirely possible. It's an entirely different kind of biology.
They just like throw her out into the freaking Antarctic where it's like -40. Just like, here, don't heal, you know, and just
They just hold it
pause.
there. They just put it up and and like she's just like put pressure on it, hold it, and the skin
There
just
you go.
fuses back together.
I'm still interested to know.
super glue.
I really think in the finale we're going to see where fire plays into this, because the fire reawakened the monkeys, and I also am interested to see, because when they cultured it and it went crazy, we still haven't really seen what's going to come of that. So I don't know.
All right. Well,
Is there more there? I think the fire was showing that like these monkeys that were frozen, like we're
the
still
same way
alive.
that
The way the
were-
vectors.
Yeah, the vectors. We brought them to the point that they were so cold that they all froze in place.
But they were still alive.
Yes.
They could be cured.
But I'm talking about the culture itself, like when Doreen cultured it, and that's when they had to kill Doreen. Love you. But then they also cultured again, and it just made this gigantic thing.
Right.
So we haven't seen what's coming of that.
Yeah, Julia. That happened with Julia and oh God,
Alan
what
as
is what
well.
is Dr. Jordan's first name? I keep forgetting.
Sarah. To me, that was just showing that this virus can do crazy things. It can grow at exponential rates, and it can like spread at exponential rates.
Okay,
I don't
I
know that
guess-
there's more to it at this point
I
from that particular thing.
Yes, yes. Javier.
All right. Can I say something? Like,
Nope.
well, here's the thing. Like, I'm so happy to see Peter as part of the gang, but is it just weird to anybody? It's just because Billy Campbell is so
tall. Yes,
But
I was gonna
it
say-
makes Neil
So-
look so short and
I just want to
adorable.
hug him.
He's like a pooch. He's
Neil
like a
is like
puppy.
a little action figure next
Well,
to
even just like, well, it was funny because there was a scene where I particularly remember this, and I remember when we had Neil on the show, and he was just like, "Dude, these guys are giant." Like I think he said, Alan, or rather,
Billy Campbell's
like
6'3".
6'3",
Yeah.
and then you see Miguel, or Daniel,
Bam.
and he
Miguel's like
has
6'2".
to be he has to be at least 6'4". I mean, at least this angle,
Right.
And then you just see, and if you guys have seen the pictures from when we had an interview with him, I mean, I'm 5'9", and I still got like at least an inch on Neil.
Guys,
so.
well, that's not a good thing to be talking
Yeah,
about.
don't.
But I will
but-
say that like knowing meeting Neil in person and seeing the episode, you can see how the camera plays tricks too.
Of course, yes.
Every scene that was between Neil and Billy that wasn't in the vents was at an upward angle with Peter at the foreground, so they looked kind of at similar heights. They played a lot of tricks with it because honestly, Billy's just really tall.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
I know.
I'm
Yeah.
short to Billy.
And most of the time that we saw Peter he was in bed or in a cryotube or running around with the vectors.
I forget how handsome Peter is, and then he
He's
has all that
so
makeup
handsome.
off his
He
face.
needs that beard though. He needs to grow that beard.
No way,
Oh
man.
no, I like him without the beard.
Yeah, he's foxy.
Beard. Oh, well, that's like look who's talking.
Right.
Matt has a
Oh,
little
yeah,
bit
you
of
guys
a
with
Matt has a little bit
beards.
of a man crush.
On Neil?
Yes.
Yeah,
We all
probably.
do.
Yeah, because he's an amazing actor. All right, we gotta talk about how we feel about the Mixa death, and we also
What you just said? He didn't die.
what?
No, just messing with you.
No, Mixa's dead.
Let's
What
talk
are
real
we
quick
talking
about
about?
Sarah,
Okay.
because in the cabin, like she's the one who's watching the. She's the one who's watching.
And failing.
yeah, she's watching
She's
the
trying
Narvik.
to calm everybody down, watching the Narvik virus. I don't know why she opens the fridge to make sure that it's still there. Who's gonna take
Well,
it?
apparently it was worth checking
I
because the
know.
next time she goes back, it's gone.
Yeah,
Well, I
but the
think-
fridge is like open and it's obviously gone.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if Dan even knew the code and he had watched her open it, and that's how he knew. So technically, if that's that, we can totally blame Sarah
It's
for
like the
his
break
death.
room fridge, though. I feel like everyone would know the
They
code.
put like
I feel
serious
like-
sandwiches in there. Like, why would they have a lock on there? Like, it's my sandwich.
Hey
No
guys,
one
just
eat it.
don't drink the coffee in the top shelf.
And I feel like Dan would know, though. I mean, this is
Yeah.
a guy who, like, we
Head of
learned last
security.
week. He's not just the head of security, but he also is very, very smart. He was able to build that cryo Ghostbusters pack just on his own with no help.
It's a very smart.
Well,
dude.
we have the conversation between Sarah and Julia, where Julia's like, well, I mean, you thought you were going to die, and now you got thousands of years. What are you going to do with it? So at least they posed the question this episode, because that's what I've been wondering. Like, okay, you've had a timeline for your whole life, and now it's basically just blowing the end off of it.
And just the way they were like, and then you're gonna, everybody around you is gonna die, and I don't know if I'm ready for that. I'm like, well, you were gonna die too, so.
Sarah looks the most strange with the silver eyes.
I thought that too.
Because she has such a light complexion already. Julia
Yeah.
has like the dark hair, dark complexion, but when Sarah has it, it just makes her kind of look like she's blind.
Yeah, it did a little bit. It was a little foggy, her eyes.
Her
But
eyes looked the most silver to me.
Yes.
They didn't just look like glossy white, like they were very metallic-y.
yeah, well, like they said, I don't think they ever actually used contacts at
Yeah, they
all.
didn't.
They
No.
only ever used the 3D effects. So
The CG.
CG.
All
3D.
right,
Well, it's like it's just on that on
Yeah,
Sarah's
yeah.
like talking about like I don't think she's still had time to process it. She's just alive. It's hit her, but there's way too much going on.
Right.
We talked about this last week.
Right.
With the writers, it's
She
just
seems really...
nobody has a moment to ever to sit and think. Not until I'm sure after next week
Not
will
when there's
anyone
sex
have a
to be
moment
had.
to sit down.
Right. Well, no, there's no time to decompress. And she seems like a little relieved and excited. That the only thing she seems excited about is the fact that she's going to be 26 forever. Like,
Yeah.
not that she's going to live forever, but that she'll be 26 forever.
I don't even think she cared that much. She was more just that was like an anecdote to
it
her.
Was,
that she's
but
like,
it was,
oh, that's cool, and then she
merited
moves
a
on.
smile, but like the fact that she can go on doing her work and not have to ever get sick again,
Not have a cold.
not have a cold, be able to
She
not
mentioned
wear
that.
gloves in a hot zone.
Yeah, that's pretty convenient to like be able to work with all these terrible diseases and know you'll never
sick.
get them.
That's, you know, it basically, it means that if she still wants to conduct her life's purpose of, you know, making a difference and curing diseases, she's now the best equipped person potentially on the planet to
It
do
makes her a CDC super agent.
Exactly. But, you know, as you're saying, having to adjust to the fact that everyone around you will die and that you will live potentially forever could very much rewrite her whole idea of what her life should be. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that weighs on her.
I wonder.
Let me ask you.
I have when you're done, I have a crazy theory.
Okay, well, let me just ask you guys really quick. If somebody came up to you and said, "Hey, I'll turn you into silver. You'll live forever, but people around you will die and all that crap," would you do it? Zach Wilson,
I would say probably yes.
Liz,
I don't know. Maybe.
yes or no?
Yes.
You have 30 seconds.
Can I make at least one other person a silver with me?
No,
Damn it. Yeah. Sure, I'll say
Matt.
yes.
No.
I'd totally do it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
here's
with
the
Stephen,
thing.
like no hesitation, and then I might
You could
live
off
to
yourself
regret
later.
that, if you
Right.
will.
Yeah, that's why...
Because you can still die.
Yeah, you can off yourself later.
I
you
just
know.
I just want to live through the centuries and see human evolution or human technology travel the stars.
Yeah, we'll get to live around after humans destroy the
I would-
planet.
I would
Exactly.
team up with
I'm too
Neil
much of a global pessimist. I couldn't handle seeing what's going to become of the planet.
I'd be total Neil deGrasse Tyson in that spaceship with him doing the cosmos.
Oh my
thing.
God, yes.
Okay.
But so I have a wild theory to throw
Wild
out there.
theory, and then we gotta
Future
talk about Sergio.
prediction. I think that eventually we're going to get introduced to the board and whoever the 500
Great.
are, and that's going to be now we have this small collection of silvers that are on our team. I think Sarah is the one of any of them that joins up with Ilaria
What?
What?
Yeah, I agree.
Why?
because it totally like what was just said. It totally changes her perspective on life. And Hatake talks about it's like you stop thinking about now and you see the world as it will be for a long stretch of time. You start seeing the fact that humans are going to potentially destroy the planet.
It's the big picture. It's the big picture, and Hatake's always said, "There's the big picture," and there wouldn't be a divide in the 500 if there weren't two sides to what.
I just
You
love
said
the way
500 again.
I love.
I hate you guys so
I
much.
love it so much.
There wouldn't be a divide in the 500 if there was not good sides to both stories. So they wanted to get rid of the Willis hypothesis because it was blasphemy, whatever. But the other side, if Sutton was intelligent but still went with the other side, it means they do have a good argument to support why they're doing what they're doing.
Right.
So that could easily sway Sarah Jordan to be on their side as opposed to Hatake's because he's not really opening up what the Willis hypothesis is. And if they get to her before he tells her what it is and gets her to his side, then, I mean, who can blame her?
And she's very much about saving people. That's what her whole life's work has been, is to save people from disease. If she sees whatever Ilaria is doing as a way to save more people in the world, maybe it's like one of those things where you have to sacrifice some to save the
But
many.
what about the Alan of it all? Alan would never go along with this.
Yeah.
And she's going to be super torn on that. But then she's going to start to process the fact that he's going to die before she does.
Did
And
any-
she has to plan for the future, not the now.
Did anybody catch? I think it was in the preview for next week's episode. I feel like
They made it seem like he was saying it to Mark Ganime when he says, "I knew you were capable of killing someone, but not killing millions."
No, I was actually going to say it looked like they were in parts of the world that were not in the lab
Yeah.
or in
yeah.
the snow.
I was
So
gonna
that
save
was
that
very
for
interesting.
predictions, but
Yeah, we'll
We'll
save that.
talk about that at the end,
Yeah.
just because there may be people who didn't watch those scenes from next week
Okay.
and don't want to be spoiled.
But since we're actually saying that, and we saw it looked like Billy was saying it to Mark with "I knew you
Or
were capable
Sergio.
of killing one."
let's save it for the end. Let's save it for the end because we got to talk about Sergio. Okay, I'm sorry
All
to
right.
disappoint, but there are people who maybe don't want to talk about that or don't want to hear it. So I'm protecting them.
Stephen's face.
I don't
This is like
care.
your
I
face
care
during
not
that
to look
reaction.
at him. So out in the wilderness. In the snow, Sergio and Inanna are still leading the whole pack of folks away from the village, trying to save them.
Balls
trying
and
to
bananas.
Balls and nanners are
one banana.
are trying to get to Nunavut, and Taluk still does not trust Sergio
Which,
one bit.
can we give him some credit for not trusting him? I mean, it's his sister. Number one, you're going to be a protective brother. Number two, come on.
He's untrustingly handsome.
why credit? You don't think Sergio has the potential to change?
No, he does, by all means. But I'm saying let's not give crap to Tanuk.
Taluk.
Who am I saying Tanuk? And let's give him credit. I don't blame him for it either. So I don't understand why. I don't understand
totally
why.
blame him.
I don't understand why Inanna got so upset.
Here's what I'll say, and I think it's somewhere between what you're about to say and what you said is. You should not trust him completely because of his past, because of what he's done before, but he is actively helping out your whole society, all of your people. Your sister trusts him. Yeah, you let him know, listen, buddy, I know what you're about. If you cross us, I will back that up.
Can you, with a straight face, say that if Ilaria came down and surrounded them, and somebody who knew knew Sergio from Ilaria said, "Kill, what's his name, Taluk? Kill Taluk, and we'll let you live." Can you honestly say that he wouldn't kill Taluk?
No, I can't say that.
There you go. So he's still connected to Ilaria. That's why it's so.
But it seems weird it seems like a bad idea to just like send him off. He's been so helpful to this point. He's clearly helping out. Mm-hmm. It just seems like it's jumping the gun to say
they have
like,
a much better shot of surviving with
exactly.
him.
But this is also Ilaria. They could have a chip planted in Sergio to know where he is at all times. They could have all sorts of things. They still might think he's a double agent. You never know.
I don't know. I feel like if they had a chip in him, they would have caught up to them by now.
I feel like bravo for this show still having us guessing and doing all these crazy theories one episode before the season finale.
I know. It's really impressive.
I mean, it just seems like it would have been more prudent to like talk to him. This just felt like it was a gut reaction to the fact that he sensed that there was something between him and between Sergio and Inanna, as opposed to a smart decision about this guy is hurting the group.
Steven's ruined it for me because every time anybody ever says Inanna, all I hear is Inanna.
What's my name?
Like, it's all I hear.
That's my name. It would be Inanna. That's my name.
Balls and nanners.
Anyway.
So the sad part. of the
Yes.
show.
So,
Awkward window returns.
yeah, at the last second, because Hiroshi Hatake was not able to make a decision, Miksa made it for him, and he sacrificed himself for the good of everyone. And
He adjusted his collar.
Yeah,
for the final time.
And it
Oh my God,
blew his
that
head off.
scene.
Can we have a
Really?
moment of silence for Dan? Thank you.
Yeah, it was really emotional. Now, do we have the clip of Liz and I watching the episode?
So I made sure that when Matt and Liz were watching it, that I brought my phone in and I recorded the moment
Worst
that
angle ever.
Miguel lost his head, and we're gonna play that right now.
Kill him. Kill the fuck out of him.
Thank you, Marissa.
Thank you.
That is Matt.
Yeah, just my hands slowly fly to my
I knew
head.
it was gonna happen, so I was basically hugging myself and just in permanent sad, like,
Liz's face like 30 seconds before was like, and then it was.
I was very sad, like total upside down, like.
I knew Miguel was gonna. I knew he was
I
gonna
knew it was
die
too.
from like the first 10 minutes. Like as soon as it set up,
You
like
look like
the
such a
central
sad puppy with the collar on.
the central conflict of him and Hatake and knowing
The
that
foreshadowing of what he was gonna do after, like, oh, I'm out of here, I'm totally gone afterwards.
Yeah, It wasn't gonna last. We raise our mugs to you, Miguel, for having such a memorable death. We're happy that we still have you on the show.
We still get Miguel. Mixa is gone.
Farewell to Mixa. We miss you. And we will always remember the good times.
And the turtleneck.
And the turtleneck.
Turtleneck.
All right. I think it's time for predictions.
I mean,
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
kind of jumped into predictions. We didn't even talk about the mom at the end, man.
Well, let's talk about her. So we have Jane on the facility. Now, as I recall, Gunnar...
We thought she was dead.
I thought Gunnar killed her.
Yeah, no, Constance.
Constance
We
killed
thought
her.
Constance killed her.
We thought she did.
Well,
Did
they
she
said
say
that-
that explicitly?
No, I didn't say
No,
it
Gunnar
explicitly.
betrayed her and gave her up
Gave her up to Constance.
to Ilaria.
Yeah.
Okay,
And they
so
kept her, and it is not like we don't know that it's just a human person that's being kept in the thing. I think that there's.
I thought it
there's
was a vector they captured.
Well, she could be a vector.
I think she's just a test subject, and I think Hatake knew, because that's why he said if they find out about Julia, they're going to take her and they're just going to keep her forever and do whatever terrible things. Because I think he knows what they were doing to Jane, because Jane actually gave birth with the silver, a human and a silver, and I think that's why.
Maybe that's the Willis hypothesis.
Did anyone else get like
Or
the
Willis.
Star Trek
Willis.
feeling? You know, the guy in the
Captain Pike
Captain
in the
Pike
beeping
in the beeping
in the beeping wheelchair head thing.
I thought of a scene from Doctor Who. It was when like when they open up the scene, like the original Dalek guy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can't remember.
Oh
the name.
man.
It's just from Davros.
Yes, Davros.
Davros.
I'm a horrible Whovian.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's sad. It was kind of a weird ending. Like, Mom?
I know.
Yeah.
They should have said like, she should have been like,
Wait.
Jane?
Yeah.
Or like, what's going on? Saying Mom was just too much. Hey, it's all in the family.
I
I
wasn't that
forgive
bad.
it. Look, it is ultimately it is a family story. It is all in the family.
Cameron, I forgive you.
What? Oh, whatever. But like, she's now on the base. What is she there for? What is the purpose? Is she a bargaining chip?
Seems like it.
I think that she's not Jane anymore.
she's
She's a
bait.
creature of some kind. I don't know if it's vector, if
Her
it's a third
eyes
thing we
weren't-
don't know
she
about.
wasn't
I feel like
affected.
she's
not a vector.
No, she's not a vector. I think she's been kept inside that box for 30 years.
Yeah.
And I think that drives a person absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
something
like being
I
in
th-
isolation.
What would they do if they gave her the Narvik virus? Like, if that was their thing, they were going to inject Jane with the Narvik A and
What
B.
would be the purpose?
Well, let's also not forget that there are still vectors running loose somewhere in that facility.
It's true.
The ones that escaped. So I want to know, everything obviously, shit's going down next week, or this rather on Friday.
Stuff's going down.
stuff.
He
Yes.
just said kill
He
the
doesn't
effer.
just. That was in a video.
That was in a video. We just played a nasty video.
Stop making me the bad guy. Anyway, I just think that something's going to happen, but I think the vectors in the end are going to wind up like helping in a way. Like I think that they might maybe something where with Peter's relationship that they know or at least can recognize who he was as like their vector king. And I think it might come into play when like Ilaria really starts hitting, if more agents come in to help Scythe or Spencer or whatever his name is. I think the mom, Jane, I think they just brought her to like torture Hatake. Like maybe he didn't know that she was alive this entire time, and now it's even worse to find out that she's been kept in this thing this entire time.
Well, something I thought was very interesting is like I looked at the access granted for this week.
Yes.
And they released some more stuff, and one of the things that they put up was an email to the board that didn't have a from. There was it was blank in the from line, and it said it has been released.
Ugh. Okay.
And so that I'm assuming,
Has to do with Jane.
yeah.
Creepy.
No, I'm assuming that has to do with the virus.
Oh yeah, that could be. It could just
I'm
be.
Interesting.
assuming that they get the virus, and I'm assuming Sergio has something to do with it.
I'm gonna
Or-
I'm gonna label that left field. I don't see where how that's.
You're gonna
coming
label
from.
that left field?
Yeah.
Well, where do we think Sergio's gone too?
I think that he is still with the caravan. He's just outside of the perimeter, keeping an eye on them, and he's going to come in and save them at the last second.
But so in those last things, we get this shot of somebody walking away from the camera in what looks to be either Montreal, probably it's Montreal, but it could be like Paris, which is another thing that they teased in Access Granted. They teased Paris as a location, so I think we're going to go there. It looked to me like it could have been Alan.
Okay.
If he gets away. He talks about in there that they will hunt you to the end of the earth. I think Alan's going to escape, and now it's going to be Alan on the loose next season, like trying to stop Ilaria one way or another.
And it's like a political thriller, like 3 Days of the Condor. I'm into that. Okay, I want to thank everybody for downloading, listening, watching, streaming. You're all the best. Liz Rishmawy, where can the people find you?
Hey guys, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Lizzie Mawy, LIZZYMAWY.
Zach Wilson.
You can find me on Twitter at Zach Wilson, and also here at AfterBuzz on Archer, Grimm, and Resurrection.
Okay, Stephen Lemieux.
You can find me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux, STPHENLEMIEUX, or also on the Twisted After Show here at AfterBuzz TV. Be sure to check out not Thursday, we're airing it Friday. Friday, our exclusive interview with showrunner Steve Mata of Helix. And then, watch the finale, man.
Yeah, and the finale episode recap next Monday. If you want to find me on Twitter, at Matt Lieberman, LIEBERMAN. You can find all of my videos, sketches, AfterBuzz, and my new videos for my gig at SourceFed on my YouTube channel. Orphan Black and Mad Men coming back in April. I want to thank everybody for tuning in.
Hashtag Renew Helix.
Yes.
And thank you, Kat, again for our shirts.
Thank you, Kat.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Awkward window.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.